Welcome to the Fantasy Football Hub YouTube channel. Today I'm joined by FPL Salah to preview Gameweek 36. Abdul, a little red arrow last time around in Gameweek 35 puts you just outside the top 100k as things stand, but you have 3 free transfers, so definitely scope for you to get into that top 100k. How was last week and how are you feeling about your team for Gameweek 36?
Yeah, last week it was a bit of I think it was a disappointment. It started so well. I had double city defense. So on Friday night, actually, I was just inside the top 100k. I was like 98k. First time I'd reached the 100k this season. But yeah, by the end of the game week, it was quite disappointing. My 3 Palace boys didn't deliver. So I ended up with like a 1k green arrow, red arrow. So I'm only 6 points behind top 100k. I've got 3 free transfers. So hopefully, barring any, really bad luck. I'm hoping to make the top 100k at least.
Okay, good stuff. Now, I want to start with, I think, pretty much the key talking point this week going into Game Week 36, which seems to be budget forwards and the best budget forwards out there. I mean, Mateta is very highly owned. A lot of people have him, and a lot of people are thinking potentially to replace him. You have Mateta, but even if you don't have Mateta, there are a good few budget forwards now that have a good run of fixtures, I would say, between now and the end of the season. If I just go on the forward tab on Fantasy Football Hub's My Team tool and do 7.5 and below, we've got Cunha, Wissa, Wood, Evan Nilsson, even someone like Raul Jimenez, who are sort of very close to each other in terms of predicted points for the next 3 weeks, all with pretty good fixtures. So before we even talk about your team, what you're planning to do, just want to talk about those budget options and how you'd rank them potentially.
Yeah, I mean the ones that you mentioned, like Wissa, Wood, and Cunha, and even Evan Nielsen actually are all great options. I think with Evan Nielsen though, you can probably wait, and I think he's the one. If you don't already have him, if you've already got him there, it's fine. But I think if you don't, then you probably just wait until game week 38 when they play Leicester because they've got City away next week. But the top 3 for sure are Wissa, Wood, and Cunha, and those are obviously the 3 that I've been looking at as well to bring into my team. So I've done a bit of like just looking at their stats, and for me, like if you compare their XG, for example, like XG per 90, Wissa is kind of miles ahead on XG. It's like 0.56 XG per 90. Wood is 0.39 and Cunha is 0.30. Obviously, Cunha's got the highest XA per 90 at 0.19. But just looking at that and looking at their 3, I mean, they've all got good fixtures in the last 3. I'd say Brentford's fixtures up, over the next 3, probably just kind of, I guess, just a bit ahead of the other 2. So for me, just looking at the goal threat and the overall kind of XGI, I guess, come to the conclusion. I say Wissa would be my number 1 pick. Then Chris Wood, and then Cunha.
Okay.
I think it's closer between Wood and Cunha than it is to Wissa, because I think with Wood and Cunha is just that player where he just needs one return, and he'll get bonus points. But I do think Forest's fixtures for next year are that much better than Wolves.
I'm just comparing Wissa and Cunha here on the player comparison tool. If you guys want to do this as well with any players that you're thinking about, the link, as always, is down below to Fantasy Football Hub. But I just wanted to do these 2 just because these are the top 2 in terms of predicted points. Interestingly, Cunha is predicted to score the highest over the next 3, despite the fact that his stats are quite considerably worse than Wissa and Wood. I mean, just looking at like this table here, the XG difference is like massive between Wissa and Cunha and the expected points. But obviously, Cunha has all that sort of other stuff. Andy has more points than Wissa.
The thing with Cunha is, right, he's not really nailed to play 90 minutes anymore, but he's going to get about 85 minutes, right? So his minutes are still good. He's on penalties and he's on set pieces as well. And we know like he can get an assist and get 3 bonus points, where I don't think the other 2 have got that type of BPS baseline. So I can understand why Cunha is the highest ranked. I mean, like he's, I guess, overperforming all season. So I guess we can kind of assume, he's quite clinical. He's been playing well. And I think I think the one thing putting kind of Cunha and Wood ahead is the penalties. I think that's the one thing Wissa hasn't got. But if you look at the XG, I mean, if you look at the kind of finishing and the amount of, the quality of chances that Wissa is getting compared to the other two, it's quite a stark difference. I mean, 0.56 XG per 90 compared to 0.39 for Wood and 0.30 for Cunha is, it's quite a big difference. And for, a forward who's 6.7 million, I mean, that's an unbelievable XG, unbelievable stat. I mean, that's like a 8.5 or 9 million forward, type of numbers he's putting up there.
Yeah, it's very impressive. I think, yeah, the lack of penalties is obviously a shame, but apart from that, I don't know. For me, I think I'm going to be doing the Mateta to Wissa move. I do think Wissa is just a level above the other two. And I really like I've really enjoyed having Wood in my team, and part of me is thinking, 3 more weeks, repay him sort of in terms of what he's done for me over the course of this season. Because we're not talking about Calvert-Lewin here, are we? May he rest in peace.
Wood's a great option, yeah. Thanks for reminding me of that.
Yeah, no, well, But the point being, I don't know. Wood obviously could be good. He's got the best fixture coming up next.
Oh, he is.
I just feel like with this sort of decision, sometimes like numbers are great, but I think that someone like Cunha doesn't need the numbers to do well. I think everyone knows that. Wood still is pretty clinical, and Leicester at home is a great. It doesn't get any better than that. Wissa as well. I mean, yeah, he has the numbers. So there's all these sort of different ways of looking at it. I think that Brentford they've got so much to play for because they are in the driving seat, I think, right now for that 8th spot, which if City win the cup will be a European spot, which would be unbelievable for them. Ipswich away is an unbelievable entry point. Then Fulham at home, Wolves away, where if they win all 3 of those games, they're very, very likely. I think they might even be guaranteed to be 8th. Whereas Cunha, I'm like, they don't really have too much to play for at all. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. I mean, they've been in great form. They won 5 of the last 6 or whatever it is anyway. So I'm not sure if that's too much of an important point. And Wood as well. Like the next game's great. I think West Ham away isn't super easy. There's a lot of pressure on Forest. They've not been in the best form. And then that game in the last game week, I think is going to be a low scoring one. I can't see loads of goals in that. It's going to be very tight. So I think I'm going to go for Wissa. I'm expecting Brentford to score a lot of goals in the next 3 where they're playing teams who don't really have that much to play for. Fulham potentially if they're still in the race in a game week's time, but I'm not sure. They might not be. But yeah, what do you think about that?
I think, yeah, I agree. I think the fixtures put it slightly in Wissa's favour as well. I'd say over the next 3, Brentford do have, I think, the best fixtures for attacking purposes. I think if you look at just the next 2 though, you probably pick Wood. I'd say with Leicester at home and West Ham. But I think for making a transfer now, you're picking for the last 3 game weeks, so you need to pick the guy who you think is going to score the most over the next 3. And for me, that's Wissa. And then I'd probably, I think it's really close between Wood and Cunha, because Cunha just that type of player. Even against City. He hit the post. He makes chances out of nothing. He's just such a good player. Talent-wise, he's by far, the best out of those 3. If you're looking at, pure talent and as a player. But obviously you've got to look at, team dynamics and what team they play for in their fixtures as well. So over the next 3, I'd say, it's really close between him and Wood. Wood has got the fixtures, but I just think Cunha's got that. We just know he's that type of player, can score against any team, and if he just needs the 1 goal to get 9 points.
That's a good point as well. Wissa is tougher for him to get to, obviously, the maximum bonus. Wood's pretty good at that, to be fair. I want to bring up a tweet from Adam Hopcroft, who you guys may know from the Green Arrow podcast on this channel. He compared Wood, Cunha, and Wissa across a number of stats, which I'll put on screen right now. Why not? I'm just doing this live on Twitter, but I don't know, I thought this tweet was really good and I just thought about it. And I haven't even given it a like yet. I'll reply. Very good stuff. Thanks, mate. Using live now on the channel. That's just how much I liked it. Anyway, don't want to do that. Wood, obviously, their FPL points per match are very similar between the 3 of them. Expected points, though, Wissa miles ahead, as we've just seen in the stats there. Goals, close. Now, I don't know how much of an important thing this is, but getting to 20 goals is like a massive thing for a Premier League striker. If you can get to that, then you've had a phenomenally good season. Wood, is right there. You'd expect him to get there. Wissa is not
Yeah.
out of that question. I mean, it's going to be tough for Cunha, but they'll all. Well, I feel like Wood and Wissa especially will be thinking about that a little
Yeah,
bit.
for sure.
Assists and sort of big chances created and just general play, as you said, talent. That's Cunha. Like he is a more creative player. He is a better footballer. I don't think many people would disagree with that, which is obviously great for his bonuses. Big chances, like Wissa miles ahead. And Cunha is really low there as well, which is the interesting thing.
That's like 7 compared to 31.
Yeah, it's crazy, isn't it?
That's insane because this goes to show like how much he's overperformed. But I mean, he is a good player.
Yeah. And then, yeah, shots. Cunha takes more shots. They're just less quality, I suppose.
Yeah.
And I guess sort of a talisman stat at the end there. Cunha involved in the majority of goals. I would agree with that. I feel like there are lots of goals that Forest score, maybe on the counter, where Wood is less likely to be involved, and Brentford as well. Any sort of set piece goal, which they're obviously very good at. Could be anyone involved. Doesn't have to be a Wissa or even someone like an Mbeumo, even though he's more likely. So, yeah, there we go. So if you had to rank the three of them from first to third, you'd have Wissa top, Cunha second, and then Wood third.
Um, it's tough. I'd say honestly I'd probably say Wissa, Wissa, Cunha, and then Wood, just
Okay.
because I just think that the talismanic aspect of Cunha, and I think over the next three, I'd say if it was over the next two, it'd be Wood ahead of Cunha, but because we're over the next three, I'd put Cunha ahead of Wood. And there's one thing as well, 17 goals for Wissa, all non-penalty, whereas the
Oh,
other
great
two
point. Yeah.
are on penalties. So if we're looking at over the next three game weeks, I mean, obviously over the course of a season, you look at penalties, right? You want to get penalty takers, but I think when you look over a shorter time period like we have now, over three game weeks, there's less chance of obviously, teams getting a penalty. They could also, of course, still get one, but I think 17 non-penalty goals, it's pretty impressive. And you'd have to say, like, if you're going to put money on it, you'd bet Wissa. I'd say Wissa probably actually finishes. I wouldn't be surprised if he finishes the top scoring forward, overall over these next three game weeks.
Wow. That'd be pretty unbelievable if you could do it. What are the points like now? I mean, is he too far
No,
away?
I mean, like just over the next 3 weeks, not
Oh,
overall.
sorry.
Yeah, I mean, like,
I was gonna say, really? I was like, is he close?
no, he's not close to like Isaac and
He's
Alan.
he's 44 points behind. It could be done.
Yeah, I mean,
Sorry, 34 points behind.
yeah, I mean, if the others didn't play and he scored like a couple of brace and hat tricks, but I mean, like, if they all start from zero this game week,
Got you.
I think I wouldn't be surprised at all if he finishes like the head of even likes of like Isaac.
To be fair, like we say that Wood has had an amazing season, which he has, and he's been great. Cunha as well for that time period was phenomenal, and he was in a lot of teams.
Yeah,
I was like, I missed that boat entirely, and I look back at that as a mistake. But Wissa is only 2 points behind Cunha and 15 points behind Wood this entire season, and he's no one's really talked about him, I would say. Now that is helped by scoring 4 goals in 4.
he's gone really under the radar this season. Similar to Bowen. I mean, I think Bowen's got something like 10 goals and 10 assists, I think. And he's another one that just kind of went under the radar. It depends a lot on fixture runs and
Yeah.
captaincy and things like that as well. But yeah, like you get some players, throughout the season who just kind of go under the radar, and Wissa's been one of them. But I think he'll be by far the most transferred in player this week. So I'm expecting his ownership to, be quite high.
Okay. Let's talk captaincy. Just looking at predicted points here again on Fantasy Football Hub's My Team tool. Salah is ahead of anyone else by quite a way, by almost a full point, which is very rare. What do you think about that?
Salah's ahead, did you say?
Salah is ahead. He's on 7. And, well, Isak's on 6.2, De Bruyne 6.1, and Burma way down at 5.3, who a lot of people are thinking about captaining again this week. What do you think? What do you think about that? I mean, in any normal week, I think you would captain Salah here, even though it's Arsenal. But home fixture Liverpool, one of the best teams this season. Sorry, the best team obviously this season. I think you'd be brave to go with Mbeumo away at Ipswich. If it was at home, it'd be slightly different, I think. But because of Liverpool having won the league already.
Yeah.
I don't know. It makes it more of a
I mean,
challenge.
look, yeah, we've already seen. I mean, I think that's probably maybe one thing the algorithm isn't taking into consideration is, they've won the league. The motivation isn't going to, be there. We've seen that against Chelsea. They did rotate quite heavily. I don't think they're going to rotate as much now, because they lost, and I guess, it's a home game. It's gonna be the second home game of the season, so and they're gonna have like the Guard of Honor and stuff. So I think they're going to play quite a full team. But still, though, Arsenal are a great team. I mean, they're out of the Champions League now. They've got no reason to rotate. So I think both teams will be, full strengths, and then if that's the case, then that's a tough fixture. I mean, it's not going to be. Liverpool aren't going to roll them over. It's going to be probably like a close game, maybe like 1-1, 2-1. Whereas the likes of Ipswich and Southampton, those fixtures, you can easily say 4 or 5 goals in those.
So do you think that Mbomo is the best captain option this week?
I think so. I mean, my captaincy is currently on Mbemo. I think he and Marmoush are, for my team, are the best captaincy options. If Marmoush starts, of course. I think he will. I mean, I know Haaland's back. Didn't get him any minutes last game week, so I do think he starts again. Even if Haaland starts, I don't think that really means Marmoush won't. So yeah, those would be my top two.
Okay, so let's talk about your team now. Finally, sorry, I know we normally start with that, but felt like those two things were sort of key debates this week. You have 3 free transfers. So what I want to do is just sort of go through your plan now, because obviously we don't have any more doubles, so it's a little bit easier to sort of formulate a more concrete plan for the rest of the season, starting with this week.
Yeah. So this week I'm planning to do like quite the template move. It's probably very likely going to be Mateta to Wissa. So I was really close to doing that move last week, because I did do Saka to Mbeumo, and I thought I thought the Wissa move this week was going to be inevitable, but I just thought that Palace game at home, Palace's next game is going to be 7 days away, so they don't really have that game after game. So Mateta should get more minutes, and I thought he was going to be on the penalties as well. Obviously, that was proven wrong there. So yeah, I was close to doing that move last week, but I'll very likely make it this week, and that's probably going to be the only transfer I make this game week, unless we get some early team news that Marmoush is benched as well.
Yeah, it's worth saying. I'll be waiting for team news, just because if Marmoush is benched, then I reckon there's something you could do there. I'll just ask you, just in case it happens. If Marmoush is benched and we hear that De Bruyne is
Yeah.
starting, do you think that move, that double move, is worth it? If you can get there by selling one of your midfielders. We were talking off camera. I know you can't quite get there, but
Yeah.
I could get there for a hit and then to captain De Bruyne. Is that worth it, or not really?
Mm, I'm not sure. I mean, I think it's a really luxury move at this time of the season. Because you're not. It's a great fixture this week, but then you've got 2 more game weeks after that. I do think De Bruyne will start the remaining league games, but I don't think we can guarantee it. So I just think I think it's a good move that you can pay off this week. I'm not sure if it's worth 2 transfers personally.
Okay, let's move to Game Week 37 then. And I'll click optimize on your team. And looks decent again, to be fair. 94% Game Week rating. What would you be thinking about this week?
So this week, look, again, I've got a pretty decent team, as you can see there. I'll probably be doing. I mean, the only problem here is I've got 2 Palace players who have got a good fixture, but then that game is 3 days after the FA Cup final,
Yeah.
and I think whether they win or lose, there's probably going to be rotation in that game. So I'd definitely bench Munoz. I'd probably be looking at something like possibly an Isaac to Watkins, and save, or maybe like an Isaac to a Cunha, and then Sar to Saka.
Okay.
But right now I'm just thinking with that game I'll just bench Munoz and then do Isaac to Watkins, because I want to go into game week 30. Ideally want to go into game week 38 with 3 free transfers, and then really attack that game week, because I think there's some good fixtures in that.
Okay, and then 38 with 2 frees.
So in 38, if I just did the Watkins move, like for example,
Yeah.
right, in 37, then I'd do Marmish to Evan Nielsen, Murphy to Saka, and then Sar to Kluivert.
For a hit.
No, so that'd be
Was
three
that,
free
sorry, if you
transfers.
just did the Watkins move, got you. So you still have
Yeah,
three. My bad.
so that'd be three. But if I did the Saka move earlier,
Yeah.
like, and I have two free transfers, then I'd just bring in Evan Nielsen and Cliver.
Sorry. So you do Marmoush to Evan Nielsen.
Yeah, so let's just say I
Or,
didn't just Isaac to Watkins in
yeah. Sorry,
37.
that's what yeah.
And then in 38, I'd do Marmush to Evan Nielsen, Murphy to Saka, and Sar to Clive. So that, I think that'll leave me with quite a strong team.
That's pretty emphatic for the last week with that, obviously, that plum fixture. Oh,
Yeah, like
why is it going back to
Leicester at home and then Southampton. I'd probably quite possibly captain Saka that week as well.
Wow. Okay. It looks very strong.
Yeah, I mean, this is obviously on the basis there's no other issues. It's always good to have a plan of your
Yeah,
transfers, but I'm sure something will come up which changes those. But at least I've got the transfers there to sort anything out if anything does happen.
absolutely. Okay, let's round things off by just looking at what the AI would recommend for your team this week. And see if it would recommend Mateta to Wissa before ending this episode. Okay, mate, here are your recommendations on screen. Very interesting indeed. You know, I'm going to be honest. I thought the recommendation would be to sell Mateta for Cunha because Cunha is slightly higher in terms of predicted points than Wissa, as we talked about earlier on Fantasy Football Hub. But actually, there's no recommendation to sell Mateta at all. And it's actually to use two of your free transfers. What do you think about these moves?
They're good actually. Like if you look at the expected minutes, Saka's one I'm looking to get in. I think with Diaz, maybe the return of Akanji is probably decreasing his minutes a little bit. But yeah, I guess those are pretty solid transfers. Nottingham Forest had highs to keep a clean sheet this week. I don't think I would do. I mean, I think as a pair, it's actually quite two good moves. Rogers to Saka and Diaz to Williams, but I think it still leaves me with. I don't think Diaz is a problem, but I think next week Mateta will be a problem.
Yeah, I agree.
So I'd rather do that now.
That's the main thing I think with Mateta is that I think you just he is an inevitable sell anyway. I think the Tottenham fixture isn't that bad, but the minutes are annoying. The fact he's coming off early is annoying.
Yeah, I mean, if you look at the anytime scorer odds, Wissa and Mateta are actually both on 41% to score
really?
this. Yeah, but that's on the assumption that they both start and play 90.
Okay.
I think Mateta gets an earlier sub than last week. You got 75 minutes. I just think with the FA Cup final, their most important game, not of the season, probably in the last decade or something. I think he will come off a bit early just to protect him for that game. I know it's 6 days away. And obviously we know now he's not on penalties either.
No, I 100% agree with that. I think yeah, I should have mentioned that earlier, but I think Mateta is a sell this week, even with the good fixture that he's got. I just think the minutes are just bad, and also the fact that he will probably, I would imagine he would get a rest against Wolves in 37. Mm-hmm. But there we go. Good stuff, mate. As always, guys, if you would like your own recommendations, I've got Mateta. Abdul's got Mateta. The plan is to sell, but these recommendations are definitely interesting. Maybe you're really bullish on Saka and you want him, and you can see his predicted points for the next few weeks is really strong. So I think maybe it's worth going for that if you're a bit more bullish on Saka or someone, and you just don't want to do the template move. This gives you another option. That's going to do it for this one. Link down below for that, by the way, of course. Hope you enjoyed it, guys. Abdul, thank you very much, as always. Let us know in the comments down below if you are replacing Mateta, who you're replacing him with, or if you just think he's good to hold for one more week and you don't care about budget options and you want to do something else. Interested to hear your thoughts, as always. We will catch you guys on the next one. Have a good game week.